My name is Alexandria Harris-Beeks, and I will be talking about what we've discussed in my mass media and popular culture class. First, I'll begin by talking about what I learned in my readings. The introduction page, we talked about Marx and Engels. Sorry if I mispronounce anything. But basically, they believe that material interest and class struggles are conceived as the ruling forces of history. So basically, material interest and where you stand in your class, or that basically determines true history instead of like wars and politics and things like that. Material interests really control our history. We also go on to, in the book, it talked about Antonio Gramsci. He was an Italian Marxist theorist, and he also spent some time in prison. While there, he wrote in his notebooks, he wrote about theories and concepts. And basically, he was in prison for his opposition to Mussolini's fascist ways, basically his ruling. And Gramsci, while he was in prison, he sketched out criticism of the ways how that became the ruling force of Italy. He also analyzed the accounts of how ruling social groups and institutions attained social dominance or hegemony. And basically, hegemony, I think that's how you pronounce it. That's basically social dominance. And Gramsci believed that ruling intellectual and cultural forces of an era constitute a form of hegemony. And basically, hegemony is like, it's the leading groups of society. It's the higher class, the people who are socially dominant. Going on, the next thing that I studied in the book, we talked about classes again, and basically, according to Marx and Engels, I don't know, but basically the rich and the wealthy are in control, and they have a great impact on our minds. Basically, what they said is the class that rules the material force of society at the same time also rules the intellectual force. So people, the rich and wealthy, they control our minds. They control how we think. Like, we model ourselves after who we see on TV, the celebrities and everything. Basically, they have great control over us because they have the money. They can control what we watch. They can control what we listen to. They can control basically our fashion and what we wear. And that's what the ruling class is all about. Also talked about the concept of ideology. And ideology originally means, the original meaning of ideology was the science of ideas or the analysis of ideas, which is the investigation of the origin of ideas. But the definition over time changed to being system of ideas. And they split it up into two different ideologies. There's organic ideologies, those that are necessary to a given structure. Basically, those are the ideologies that organize human masses and create the terrain on which we move on. And arbitrary ideologies are those that are willed or rationalistic, and they only create individual movements. Also talks about cultural themes and also a very key point in ideology and classes and ruling forces, everything which influences public opinion directly or indirectly revolves around the press. So the press also plays a big part in ruling classes and ideology and how the higher classes get their messages out there. Also, in class, we talked about the social construction of reality, and about institutions, how the social construction basically is broken down into gender, race, sexuality, class, religion, age, and things like that. And we also talked about power and what power is and how we encode power. And basically, power has a lot to do with our culture and our language. And if you can separate a person from their language or their culture, you can take their power away from them. Power is really, it really revolves around wealth and culture. We also talked about different types of powers, like cooperative power. That's basically the power that people willingly give, such as a student to a professor. The professor has the power because we willingly give the professor the power because it's in a controlled environment. We trust them. It's something that we don't have to question. And